Welcome to The Golden Hour, a podcast about aging, dignity, and the people who refuse to let either be forgotten. I'm Liz Keller, case manager, licensed realtor, everyday mom and wife, and a lifelong advocate for seniors. Here, we'll share stories that matter, bust myths, and open up honest conversation about what aging with dignity really looks like. Because our seniors deserve better, because here, no senior is left behind. Okay, so welcome to The Golden Hour.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Glad to be here.
So we're in your office today, right here in Urbandale.
Right.
How long have you been here?
About 10 and a half years.
For a while. Wow.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah.
And there's been some changes. You're in the medical kind of space, so.
There are always changes in our space.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay. So tell us how you got started with Senior Helpers and what is the story?
Okay. Well, probably about 12 years ago, my brother-in-law approached me and he had gotten some money in an inheritance. He wanted to invest it in a business. And he said, "You and I need to go in business together." And I said, "Well, what does that look like?" He said, "I have no idea, but we need to figure it out." So we started looking, and it took us about 6 months because we kind of set the goals that we had, and we wanted something that made a difference in people's lives and helps people. And he was a disabled Vietnam vet, and he wanted something that helps veterans.
So did you have a job at the time when he
I
approached you?
did. I had sold another couple businesses in my past, and I was working a job, and it was a job. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't a passion, shall we say. And so we looked, and kind of the more we looked at home care, the more it seemed that that was a good fit for what our goals were. And you look at the demographics and what's coming up in the next 25 years with all the baby boomers coming. People are living longer, people live with chronic conditions longer, and the need for home care is going to be there for a long, long time. So we kind of decided home care was it. We actually looked at 8 different franchises, plus starting one on our own. And we quickly eliminated that because we really didn't know anything about the business. But we narrowed it down to 2. Senior Helpers was one of the 2. And when we did that, Senior Helpers came up for sale here in Des Moines. And,
wow. So it was a coincidence.
It was a coincidence, if you want to call it a coincidence. Yes. And so we started talking to the owners of Senior Helpers at that time, great people. And it took us about 6 months, but we got it bought. And so in April of 2015 is when we took over and started.
Seems like just yesterday.
It does seem like yesterday. It is scary.
Yes. So when that happened, you just kind of acquired the building, everything, right?
Yes.
That's how that works. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It was an asset acquisition. So all the people, all the clients, all the office equipment and whatever. Yes.
So it was established.
Yes.
Okay. And prior to you owning it, how long was it here?
It was established for about 7 years before we bought it.
Okay, awesome. So tell me a little bit about what sets you apart here from all of the other companies that people could choose from.
Okay, well, there are a lot of companies that do the same type of thing that we do. And everyone says, we have the best caregivers, we train our people the best, whatever, but we do a lot of things that others don't. And one thing is we have what's called a life profile assessment. So when we do an initial assessment with a client, we evaluate 180 different risk factors for that client. And based on about 25 years of research and about 50,000 clients evaluated, we can predict with accuracy the probability that someone will go into the hospital in the next 6 months, based on how they answer those questions and what their score is.
So you ask 180 questions?
We do.
Okay, that's a lot. So none of it is like getting up and walking around and seeing how they move?
That's part of it.
Okay.
That's part of it. Seeing the environment that they live in, looking at the risk factors in the environment, like are there rugs in the kitchen or the bathroom? There are a lot of different risk factors, and we look at all those to try and determine how safe are they. Because frankly, the main thing that we do is keep people safe. That's our first and primary goal. Beyond that, there's a whole lot of other things that come into play, but safety is primary.
So can you give me an example besides rugs on the floors. What else are
Sure.
things that you're assessing when you're going into the house to be able to decide or evaluate that they're going to have an incident?
Okay. Well, we need to see how they get up from a chair, how they move around the home, how they get into bed, how they get out of bed. We look at lighting in the home. We look at the front steps. How dangerous are the steps for them? If they live in a retirement community, they don't have steps, so that's a good thing. But basically, we go through the whole apartment and we ask a whole bunch of questions related. Some are related to who's helping them now and what are they doing for you. So who manages your finances?
Oh, you even go as far as finances.
Well, we don't get into their finances, but we want to know, are they getting their bills paid?
Okay.
Do they have a power of attorney or can they do it themselves? It covers a whole spectrum of things.
Who is the person that's going in? Is it an RN, a social worker? Is it?
So it's a variety. We have an RN on staff. Actually, we have 4 nurses on staff. Only one does assessments right now. We also, our director of operations, Madison, will go out and do an assessment. She's a lot of experience in our industry and does a great job. And then I also go out and do assessments.
Okay. So you're in the business.
In the
doing
business, I'm in the business. Yes.
Okay. I love it. So when you go out, how long does that take? So if you're going to someone's house from start to finish, how long does that usually take?
Typically an hour and a half. Sometimes an hour, but typically an hour and a half is what it takes to answer all their questions and take a look at all the risk factors. We can do it pretty efficiently. We've done it a long time.
Do you request that adult children are there? Do you like to see what their norm is? Like, well, what do you want the environment to be when you are there assessing them?
Well, we do want as many interested parties as can be there as possible. So usually that's at least one child, maybe more than one. Sometimes it's a friend if they don't have children around. Yeah, typically you're going to see family members that want to be part of it because they want to be part of the decision. So sometimes when we go in, we're the only ones they're talking to. Sometimes when we go in, they've got 3 appointments lined up. And so we just tell them who we are, tell them what we can do for them, give them their risk factor and how we would approach their care, and then the decision is theirs.
As far as the next step, so let's say you go in, you assess, and you decide, and they decide they want your help, they want your services. What is the next step that you guys do after that assessment has happened?
So after we've done the assessment and there's a simple agreement that they sign that basically says, these are the services we're going to provide and you're going to pay us on time. That's really what it says. And after we bring that back, then we get our scheduling team together and we talk about who's the most appropriate caregiver for them, because we've already asked them, so when is the best time for us to come? And so we get our scheduling team together, we talk about it and decide who would be the best fit, who has the availability during those times. And then typically we can start the day after the assessment.
Oh, quickly
So
then.
there are a lot of others that take a lot longer than that, but we can typically start the day after the assessment.
Is yours medical and social?
I'm not sure what you mean by social.
Take them grocery shopping, take
Oh,
them
okay.
to church, hair appointment.
All right. So we call it companion care.
Okay.
And so companion care is basically what you just said.
Mhm.
Maybe fix a meal, maybe take them to the doctor, whatever. So there is that. The other side is serving people who need help with their ADLs, or activities of daily living. And that would be things like toileting, bathing, dressing, eating, showering. If they need help with those things, then that's a very different caregiver than someone who's just a companion doing a meal or driving them somewhere. And I would tell you, in the 10 and a half years that I've done this, it has changed dramatically, the needs of the clients. 10 and a half years ago when I was starting, there was a lot more companion care at that time. but things have shifted dramatically since then. And now most of our clients, most if 80 to 90% of our clients need help with their ADLs, just getting around the apartment or just getting out, getting a shower, whatever it is. That's things have changed, and really it's because people are living longer.
I was going to say, what do you think sparked that change?
People are living longer, and they can live with chronic conditions better than they did 10 and a half years ago.
Wow. And that's kind of short on the, the span of looking at time that
medical science does some amazing things.
So I would say it's a little bit more medical doing ADLs.
Anymore.
But even so, and maybe it's because there's other people that can come in and bring meals that are already made. I don't know what that reason would be, because they're still, I would assume, to be hungry.
Well, some of the huge changes have been with Alzheimer's and dementia care and Parkinson's care. Okay, so those things have become, those conditions have become much more apparent. People are seeking out help for it, and the treatment for those things has improved dramatically. It's still a long ways to go for both, but people are able to live longer with those conditions, and it's much more prevalent than it was even 10 years ago.
Something that I think is a hot point is dementia, or it's a hot point in my own mind. I feel like I lose sleep thinking about dementia. My question is, how much do you see people living at home with these things? Because in my opinion, if someone is in their home and they have dementia and they have a full-time caretaker, that's okay. But there's so many risk factors in someone that has dementia living at home by themselves. Are you seeing that?
We see it all the time.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, again, safety is the most important thing to us. And we know when we go into a house and do an assessment and meet with a family, and then if we start services, being able to observe them on a regular basis. And there are a lot of people that are limited in their resources that want to stay at home. We are staying home, and power of attorney, whoever it might be, probably one of the kids or one of the kids' spouses, would just say, "Mom's okay at home," and so we can't go in and say, "You have to have more care," even though we do sometimes. We do sometimes do that, and we have backed out of situations if we feel like someone is unsafe and they don't want to do anything about it.
Right.
We do run into that, but
which is even scarier, because if you guys are saying we don't feel comfortable with this, so we're going to back away from this because you don't want the liability and the responsibility, but then they're left with nobody. So it's like,
well, but they also have to face the music. They also have to face the situation that maybe mom isn't as safe as what we think she is, and it's a pretty extreme situation. It hasn't been done very often. We still want to serve someone who needs help, okay? But, we're also mandatory reporters.
Yep.
And so if we feel someone is unsafe in their home, we have to report it to DHS. And that's been done many times over the years. And you really don't want that.
Right.
You really don't want the DHS getting involved.
Right, because once the government is involved, they're making the decisions and not you, not your children.
Right, they're mandating.
Yes.
Yes.
So as we've talked about, my company helps find the money. So my question for you is the cost. Does this ever become doctor mandated that, you're coming in the house? Does Medicare pay for it? Is it private pay? Let's talk about those things.
Okay. So sometimes doctors mandate you can't be discharged from the hospital unless you have 24/7 care, okay, care around the clock. And that can be something that happens maybe for a couple weeks, and it gets reevaluated as someone gets stronger or better, but sometimes people don't get stronger or better, and they either need 24/7 care at home or they need to move into a community. And as far as who pays for it, it's with us, it's mostly private pay. We also take long-term care insurance. We also have work comp clients that we work with. We also have a lot of VA clients that the VA pays for. But I will tell you, there are definitely people in the middle that fall through the cracks.
Yes.
Because, Medicaid can pick up the people with no assets, and they'll pay for them basically in a community. Okay. Not that many communities take Medicaid, but some do. And so you'd have to get placed in one of those if you're not safe at home. On the other end of the spectrum, there are plenty of people who have the money to pay for our services. As far as Medicare does not pay for home care. There's talk of it. There's talk of changing that, but it hasn't happened yet.
Sure. So a lot of the times that we are out placing folks into care facilities, housing, whatever, the places that only take Medicare, Medicaid are usually, there's a waiting list, right?
Sure.
In the event that the doctor says you can't go home without having care, but there's waiting list everywhere, would Medicaid kick in and care or pay for you guys' service until there was an opening?
No.
Nothing.
Medicaid does not pay for it.
Okay.
Not if you have the assets. There's a qualification period or qualification assessment that's done, and you have to spend down your assets and have almost nothing before Medicaid will step in.
Right. So part of my series and my show is about cracking the myths, the stigmas, finding the gaps and the problems. I think we just touched one.
No, for sure.
I think we just touched a big one there.
Yes.
Because what I do know is there are people that maybe haven't fully financially prepared for what the last chapter of their life is going to look like. And then they become, at the mercy of the government. When Medicaid and Medicare is being considered for the elderly, their house isn't included as, an asset of things that have to be spent down or whatever, because they can have their one house, their one car, and so on and so forth. So I guess the point that I'm trying to get at is I don't understand what the expectation is on the government's part if all of these places that we have waiting lists, and now we have a doctor that says, Mrs. Smith can't go home by herself. So now the pressure is put on the family.
Right.
So now we have family that they're either taking their PTO, and I don't want it to sound like they're a bad, and I think this is where the problem is coming from, is people are feeling guilty if they aren't the ones that are able to step in and take care of parents.
Right.
But it's no easy task.
Yeah.
And that's why we have companies like you, is because it's hard being a mom of a bunch of small children, and I can pick them up and carry them around and tell them what to do. I can't imagine having the extra weight of having to take it on of my parents who may have Alzheimer's, and they're a lot heavier than children, and all of these things. And now that all of a sudden the doctor says you can't go home, there's really nowhere for you to go, but you have to be out of here by next Tuesday because you're no longer medically necessary. And I don't think they're going to take him and shove him out the door from my hospital experience and what that's like. Yeah. But what are we seeing?
Well, one thing, all family members want to help. They want to help their loved one. So what does that look like? Well, for people with small children, or even people that have a spouse, maybe a spouse needs a little help, whatever it might be, it's tough for them to set aside the time. Maybe mom needs overnight care. So you have 3 kids, they're going to take turns sleeping in the house overnight. That becomes a burden.
Yeah.
And, I've seen it many times where family members are wanting to provide the care, but when they do that, they stop being the child and they start being a caregiver, and the whole dynamic changes.
It's burnout.
It's
a
burnout.
Recipe for burnout.
It is. And I know for a fact that in cases where an elderly spouse is taking care of their spouse, they can decline much more quickly than the one being cared for, just because of the stress of it and the physical nature of it.
Oh, it's demanding physically.
It's terribly demanding.
It's demanding mentally, it's demanding emotionally, and it's a lot to take on.
Yes.
I mean, I honestly don't want to imagine a world where I become my husband's full-time caregiver. That feels like you're no longer married, right?
Right.
You become...
That's right.
And
it's
then
a whole different dynamic.
Yeah. So what areas do you cover here out of your Urbandale office?
Okay, so we service Polk, Story, Dallas, and Warren counties.
So the 4 counties.
The 4 counties right now.
So if someone called you in Jasper or Marshall,
Marshall.
you would not make it.
Not at this time.
Okay.
That could change in the future, but not at this time.
Are there other franchises in those spaces
There are.
of yours?
No,
senior,
not
okay,
senior
just,
helpers.
okay, completely.
But there are
okay.
other services.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. And when you say maybe in the future, is that something that you're looking into?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
What would you say that your approach is to providing care?
So first and foremost, it's what's in the best interest of the client, but also what's in the best interest of the family, because we're serving not only the client but also the family when we're in someone's home, and where that could be, home can be in their own private home they've been in for 50 years. It could be in a retirement community. We have a lot of partnerships in the area. It could be in one of their kids' homes.
So you do go in, let's clarify that. You do go into senior communities.
Yes. We have a lot of clients in senior communities.
Okay. So
yeah.
independent
Independent, assisted. We work in memory care. We have done some work in skilled care too.
So someone could kind of double up. I feel like that's a 2-level, they have their staff that are in the communities, but they can also have you guys come in and do some one-on-one.
And we have clients like that where they're in assisted living. They get the care from the community, but the community can't have someone with them all the time.
Right.
And sometimes people's social skills are lacking or are not being addressed, what their needs are. And we can go in for a couple hours at a time, whatever, just to help that person just relate to people.
Sure.
And we have a lot of clients like that.
Oh, and that's fantastic. I don't think people probably know that that's a service that you guys would offer.
That's probably right.
Thinking that maybe they're getting those services, but when you're talking about those communities, rightfully so, you have one staff to 20 people potentially. So on an 8-hour shift, that person's probably just making, quick checks in each room. So it's not long time period.
Right.
So having someone come in and kind of double up on that.
Right. Well, maybe they want to get out and walk. Maybe they want to go down to some event, but they need some help getting there. There's a lot of reasons to bring in a little extra help. But I also understand, when someone goes into an assisted living community, it's an expense, and people are mindful of the expense. But it can certainly improve the quality of life for the client.
If we're going to talk about money for a second, if someone has the money, I don't like when they hang on to it thinking I have to leave something behind. I understand that a lot of people probably have a difference in opinion on that. However, at the expense of your parent not getting the quality of life that they deserve, apparently they made the money, they saved it. If it's there, they should get to use it on whatever they want. So if they want someone to come in and do a puzzle with them for 3 hours a day, what I mean? Like,
well, and a part of it is generational. The greatest generation, which is who we work with primarily, they were savers, and they went through a lot back in the day, and they saved their nest egg, and they are people who want to leave a legacy to their family, and it needs to fall, in my opinion, on the family members to convince mom or dad that let's just get you the care you need, and let's not worry about the money. We're taking care of our family. We're good, but we run into it. And
did you know that the statistics are that if whatever someone leaves behind, it takes, generally speaking, 18 months for their family to blow. Whether it's 5,000, 5 million, 50 million.
Yeah.
18 months.
Yeah.
I don't think that they probably think through that when they're saving their money. They're probably thinking, my kids are going to save this just like I did. And
Right.
No, if you don't sit first class, your kids are going to sit first class. So you may as well. I mean,
I'm in agreement. I think they earned the money. They should take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's a hurdle you have to get over.
Right. And well, I think I feel that they feel the pressure probably from their kids. And sometimes I don't think they know, when their brain starts deteriorating, their memory
Right.
starts slipping. I don't think they understand that they have the funds there to be able to do these things, but no one's pointing that out. No one's letting
Right.
them know.
Well, and that falls on usually a power of attorney that's
Yeah.
in the family, and it's up to them to take care of their parent, typically.
So when it comes to pricing your services, what does that look like?
Okay, so it depends on a couple things. One is the length of time that we're with someone. So the longer the shift is, the less the price is per hour. Okay, so we charge by the hour. And also the second thing that enters in is the level of care that's needed. So uh, depending on the level of care and the hours, the rate could be anywhere from the mid 30s. If it's a real short shift, it could be in the mid 40s somewhere. We also do 1 hour shifts. So we design our care based on what the need of the client is, not on what the need of the office is. And so we do 1 hour shifts, and that's going to be in the mid 50s per hour.
Right, right. And I'm assuming if the nurse has to go for something, that's a completely different
If
rate.
it's a medical situation, now our nurse may go just to check in, and that there's no charge for that. But if they call the nurse out and say, I think there's a UTI here, or whatever it is, or can you come out and determine if we need to send her to urgent care? You know, if it's really necessary, and the nurse is going to talk it through before she comes out, she may just say, take her to urgent care, or to the ER. But we do nurse visits. You know, we have people that we do medical things for. We do provide some medical care, depending on what it is, whether it be wound care. We do bowel programs. We do medication setup.
Catheters.
We can change a catheter. Yes, we do all those things.
Okay.
Okay, and that does require a nurse. Our caregivers, even though they're CNAs, they can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, so it really depends on that.
So what do you feel is different between senior helpers compared to other companies like yours in the area?
Okay. Well, one thing we just talked about, and that is doing short shifts. We do that. We also work in communities where we'll do as low as a 15-minute shift. You know, so we can talk to people about that. We do have in our software system, we have what's called the family room, where family members from far away who want to know what's going on with mom can log in and look at the caregiver notes each day and see this is what happened at the house today.
What is something they would do in a 15-minute shift?
In a 15-minute shift, we might put someone's TET hose on, take it off at night. We might do a medication reminder. Might take 30 minutes to do a shower, but if they're in independent living, they would need help in the shower. So that'd be like a 30-minute shift. So just depends on what the need is. Yep.
So you guys have this app that you put notes in, and then the family can see kind of what's going on. So it's not a matter of phone tag. It's not a matter of whatever. Everything that's happening, everything that your caregivers see is just logged on the app, and then the families can log in and see it.
That's correct. Okay. Now, if there was something concerning, then we're going to call. We're going to call the family. But otherwise, just to see what happens on a day-to-day basis, yes, they can look at the app and see all the notes.
What else is on the app?
So the office staff is monitoring what the caregivers are saying, and if there's something concerning, they're going to reach out and find out more about it. But as things happen with a client, we're going to be logging. Okay, we had this conversation with the son, and this is what he said. You know, and we had this conversation with the sister, or whatever it is. So we log all that, and all that's going to be available in the family room.
Okay.
Okay. So that's mainly what the family can access. There are other notes that are internal notes, but that's what the family can access.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that feature, because how many times do we play phone tag with families?
Exactly.
And them trying to leave you a message and then all the things.
Exactly.
Would you say there's anything else that sets you apart?
Well, we do work with a lot of veterans, and we understand the veteran benefits, and we know the people to talk to about getting benefits started. So, you know, most agencies are involved with the veterans the VA, but we have the people who are connected to the VA. We do use technology that not everyone has. In fact, not anyone else has. I don't believe that I've heard. We have a small touch screen computer terminal where clients can reach out to their families. Families can reach out to their mom or dad. There are all kinds of brain games on there, things to help people. Um, it's just there's a whole lot of information on there that can assist people. So it's called CareLink 360, and it's really a unique thing. And
So that goes to every person that signs on with you?
no, it's presented to them
Okay.
and asked if they are interested in it. There's a slight additional cost to it, but it's well worth the cost,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Right.
We also use AI, and I know people are concerned about AI, but we have something called Stack Care that we can put sensors in people's apartments or homes in the appropriate places where there's a lot of activity, maybe in the living room, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, and it's not a microphone, it's not a camera. All it does is track activity. And if it sees an aberration from that activity, something just not quite right, mom hasn't gotten out of bed, she's always out of bed by now, then it's going to send a notice to the family and they can follow up on it from there.
That's pretty cool technology.
It
and,
is.
AI can be a curse, but it can also be a blessing in this space.
That's exactly right.
I recently just heard of a little gal that fell on a Wednesday and her family didn't find her until Sunday. That kind of technology is what this is combating, is
Right.
that, it's a blessing that she didn't die laying there for how many days, because she didn't move at all.
Yeah.
But that is exactly what this would catch, that there's been no
That's
movement.
exactly right. Exactly right. And so we have a training center here in our office. We call it the Center of Excellence, and it's where we train our caregivers. But we also offer that to the community as a whole. It doesn't have to be just to our clients. It can be to anyone who all of a sudden they're becoming a caregiver, a family caregiver, and maybe they don't know how to transfer mom. Maybe they don't know how to use a Hoyer lift or an easy stand. Maybe they don't know how to change a catheter bag. Okay, we will train them, no cost. We do it as a community service. We feel like that's something we can do to give back. And so all they have to do is contact our office and we'll set that up.
So whatever needs they have. So if they have a new onset of someone that needs any kind of help, they can call your office and you guys will do a training on just all of them.
That's right. And they don't have to sign up for services. We'll just invite them in and welcome them and show them what they need to know and send them on their way.
That's amazing. I don't know if that's offered anywhere else.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I understand that your caregivers are specially trained for neuro conditions.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So, with the, I talked about over the last 10 years how things have really shifted and how there's a lot more instance of Alzheimer's and dementia, Parkinson's, other neuro conditions. And so we kind of focus on those situations when we train our caregivers. And a lot of our caregivers, when they come in, they already have received some training on it, but we go further with it. And so we want our caregivers to be really almost experts in Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's. We also work on stroke victims and what they deal with on a daily basis, ALS, MS, any neural conditions. That's kind of where our training is focused. We work with a lot of other clients as well, but that's kind of where the training is focused.
How often are you training and keeping up, your staff keeping up on their CEUs and their training?
So our caregivers receive training once a month.
Oh, wow, once a month.
Once a month.
Okay.
So they go through an orientation when they first join us, and they show us what they know. And then if there's something lacking, then we train them on what they need to know. And then once a month, they go through additional training.
Let's talk about the caregivers again. Who are you hiring? What is your criteria? What is your standard of human that you are allowing through your doors to work through you?
Sure. So, what we look for in any employee, not just caregivers, but the office staff as well, but any employee is heart. Okay. We want someone who has a passion for primarily seniors. We have a lot of clients that aren't seniors. We can serve others than seniors, accident victims. We have several of those. But we're looking for heart. And so they go through a pretty extensive interview process. You know, when they apply, they generally answer an ad. We'll do a phone interview with them first. If they pass that, they come in for an in-person interview. If they pass that, they're invited to an orientation session. They aren't hired yet, but we want to see who they are and what they can do. And we ask a lot of questions about what would you do in this situation, and mainly it involves heart issues. We want people with compassion for others. We can train on skills. We have great people here who can train, but we can't train for heart,
Right.
and that's what we look for. So they go through an extensive background check. We do a nationwide background check. We check Iowa courts. We do a reference check from them. And obviously, just like any other employer, you don't always know what you have until you have them and they start working. But we're pretty thorough, and in my opinion, we do a very good job of vetting people.
Let's talk about your ideal person. If you're going to have someone come through the door when you're hiring, who are your ideal people that you have walked through the door? What is their past? What is their experience? Who is that person that you say, we want you to be a part of our company?
Okay. So preferably it would be either an experienced CNA or what we consider a home health aide, someone who has a lot of experience with activities of daily living, but maybe doesn't have the certification like a CNA. So that's primarily what we're looking for. We don't have a lot of demand for companion caregivers anymore. We talked about that. So we're looking for that experience, okay? Because to take someone who has no experience and get them to the level they need to be to take care of our clients, that would take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking for some experience, and we do bring in people from some schools, CNA schools, and so that's the first thing. We're looking for skills, okay? But when they come in for their in-person interview, we're looking for heart, okay? And so ideally, you know, in our business, the person we're looking for, there's really two people we're looking for. One is the one who wants a regular schedule, 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, because we have plenty of those clients. The other is we really need part-time people. People who want to work 20 or 25 hours a week, who are flexible and can, if we take on a new client and we need them to start tomorrow, yes, I'll do that for sure. You know, so we want them to be flexible, but they have to be able to work well with others, you know.
What would you say as far as like what they have to be able to lift? Because you guys aren't doing like 2-man lifts, 1-man lifts.
We don't.
So there's not a lot of there's not a lot of muscle needed, but they should be.
There has to be some strength, just because they might have to transfer someone from a recliner to a wheelchair, okay? We do not work with people who are considered dead weight, who cannot support their weight when they stand, okay? That would be a 2-person transfer, and most people won't pay for 2 people. So those people generally end up in a facility of some sort. So there doesn't have to be a ton of upper body strength, but they have to be able to successfully transfer someone. And some of our clients are large people. They have to be able to transfer them from one position to the other.
I guess that question was based off of sometimes I think the people, and this is stereotyping, and it has, that are like just older women who maybe their husband passed away or they just don't, and they want to go into a space where they're caring for people, they're helping for people, it's a little bit more flexible, but they're like, I can't pick people up. So that's my thought, or kind of where I was going on that is that kind of the ideal person, that they've taken care of people, they were a caretaker their whole life, their kids are gone, they're, you know, now they're just feeling almost like they're not living what they're meant to do.
Yeah.
And is this something that would be good for them?
Yes, we get quite a number of applicants like that. people who maybe took care of their spouse. Generally, it's take care of their husband, and they just feel this void in their life. Like, I have more to contribute, but how
Yeah,
do
more
I do
purpose.
that? How
Yeah.
do I do that? And we definitely can put those people to good use.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I just feel like they really do want to do this because that's what they feel like their purpose is.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have one caregiver that I think is 78,
Oh, wow.
and she's been with us with Senior Helpers for 17 years.
Wow.
And she is excellent. She is just excellent. And so just because of age doesn't mean you can't do the job.
Right.
And as long as you've got that passion, that heart for someone else, and you can do whatever the physical requirements are of the client that you have, and maybe if it's a heavy client to work with, maybe that's not appropriate for them. So again, that comes down to our scheduling team figuring out who's the best person for this.
Right.
Do
they let's talk about if you're taking them as a companion. I don't know if you want to call it companion, but if we're doing hair runs or grocery runs, are they taking your cars, or do they need to have their own car that they're putting clients in?
Generally, the caregiver has to have their own car. Okay, we don't budge from that. They have to have a driver's license. They have to have their own car insurance. So we can drive the client's car, but we advise against that. We think the caregiver should drive their own car because they're comfortable with it. They know it, and their insurance comes in first on it. Ours comes in behind theirs, so it doesn't involve the client's insurance at all. And we make sure that anyone that has to be transported, the car is a good car to ride in.
Yeah, not a clunker.
No, that's right.
I know you have a partnership with a long-term, short-term home here in Des Moines.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So our partnership, someone else owns the home, but we provide the care in the home. And there's 6 bedrooms.
Okay, wait a minute. This is actually good information to know. So it's like an investor will buy the home and turn it into like a home that has respite in it, and
Right.
You guys staff the home.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
This is amazing.
You got it.
That's it? I just answered my own question.
Well, you did. Yes. So this person has owned this home for quite some time, and we took over the care for it several years ago. And so there are 6 bedrooms, a bunch of bathrooms. Most have their own bathroom, and it's like assisted living care, only care is no more than 3 clients to 1 caregiver. So we generally have 1 caregiver if there's only up to 3 people, and 2 caregivers in the house if there's up to 6.
Okay, this is amazing because we work with investors that want this. I mean, the question is like, so
how do you do this?
After you buy this and we get this in there, who's going to take care of my? Not me. I am the real estate gal, but I am not the nurse. Yeah. So this is amazing. This is great news. I think there's that question, and maybe people knew that this existed, but I guess I hadn't delved into that.
There's only one house in the Des Moines area.
Yes, that's amazing.
In fact, there might only be one in Iowa.
Ames has some.
Okay.
Ames is a different market. It isn't Des Moines. People aren't looking together. So that's good to know. You only cover one, or there really is only one? Like,
as far as I know, there's only one.
Okay.
But that could be wrong. But as far as I know, there's only one.
So, all right. So there's 6 bedrooms. You have 3 people to 1. What happens if someone calls in? Like, what's your plan? Who goes if there's a call in and you can't find anyone?
We have emergency caregivers on call. So if somebody calls, and we have never in 10.5 years not been able to cover a 24/7 house or a 24/7 client. Okay, so sometimes people work a little longer till someone else can get there. But frankly, in this home, people don't call off because they know what a great job it is, because they're doing one-on-one care with people. It's 8-hour shifts, 40 hours a week. They love it, and they're not going to risk that by not showing up.
I know that turnover can be big in these spaces. There's even burnout, and that's what I don't think that family understands is there's sometimes a big turnover when it comes to CNAs and respite and all of that. So it's just a burnout. That's the point. And I think the biggest concern for even me thinking about having someone come in home for my family would be what happens if someone calls in, because that you're expecting them to be there. Your life is planned around them being there. How quickly are you able to schedule if someone is calling off, or what do you do?
Well, so again, we have people who are on call for
So
emergencies.
okay, so they are expecting that they could get a call.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and they get paid extra to be on call. But if it's something during the day, like from 7 to 5, basically, then we have a couple of on-call caregivers in the office here who will go. They do other jobs, but they'll go if they need to until someone else can arrive. So no one misses out on care. We now a lot of times we have clients who have a regular caregiver that they see all the time, and if that caregiver can't come, I don't want anyone else. But we try to make sure that there are 2 people introduced in the house, at least 2, so that if there is a problem with one, we can always get someone else there who knows the routine and knows this person, and this person is going to say, I don't want anyone new, which sometimes happens. Doesn't always happen,
Right.
but sometimes it does happen.
Well, I mean, when you have a connection and you're comfortable with someone, it just
That's right. And these people become part of the family eventually. Over time, for long-term clients that we have, these people are family.
I guess that leads into my own personal fears would be the consistency of the person coming in the house. And it sounds like you try to do your best to have that consistent caregiver going in the same house.
Yes.
So it's not changing up all the time.
Right.
I think that's great. And I
Right.
think that that's part of the fear that people have is you have just anyone coming in and out of
Right.
the house.
And I will say it's not always possible,
Yeah.
Because someone maybe who has 5 days a week care, but one caregiver can only work 3 days a week because of some other reason.
Yeah.
They have to have someone else for 2 days, and that happens. But we try very hard once someone is introduced to the client and the client loves them to make sure that they are going as much as possible.
Let's go back to that house for a second.
Okay.
It's men and women?
Well, currently it's just women.
Okay.
It has had men and women before. Okay, so there are 2 levels to the home. And in the past, when there were women and men, men were downstairs, women were upstairs. But now it's just women. And when there's a caregiver on each floor, you can monitor that. And we have people there 24/7, so they're there overnight also. It's always in the back of your mind.
Is there an elevator?
There's a chair lift.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Or there is a sidewalk that goes from the lower level and wraps around to the top level. So you can take a wheelchair down if you need to, or whatever.
I would assume it's not like a bunch of high school boys, chasing the girls. But I just feel like that generation is very conservative, and I don't think that they would want to be next door to the other gender.
Right.
I don't know if you.
Right. I understand that, and it is something in the back of our minds always as we're evaluating people. We've had people that we've evaluated and said no, they're not appropriate based on behaviors.
Sure.
So and if behaviors ever got to the point that they couldn't be managed easily or well, then we would ask them to move.
Sure.
But we have never, in the time we've been doing it anyway, there's never been a situation where that was a problem.
Well, that's great, because like I said, I don't feel like it would be like high school boys chasing girls,
Right.
but there's
always the risk.
Yes.
And top of mind. It's top of mind if that happens again, and there is a man that moves in there, it would be watched over carefully.
Yeah.
And one thing I will tell you about the house is we've just opened it up to hospice folks. And so, there's a huge shortage of hospice beds in the Des Moines area, and there's waiting lists on the hospices. And
for hospice houses?
Yes.
Good to know.
Yeah. And so that's another investment opportunity. But they keep closing, so I'm not sure it's a good investment.
Why are they closing?
I'm not sure they
If there's a
can
waiting
get enough
list.
money because it's paid by Medicare,
Oh,
and this is how much you get, and you got to make it work. And
yeah.
yeah, so that's not where I would put my investment money. Sorry.
No. I mean, it
Yeah.
would be, you would have to have almost like a dorm space. So there's lots of spaces.
But anyway, so there is a shortage of hospice beds, and even though Medicare is not going to pay all the expenses of this, we do partner with hospice agencies here in the Des Moines area. If they want to, if they have someone that wants to move to a hospice house, there's no room in the hospice houses. They can come to us. They can move into our house, and we'll provide the care they need. And hospice will still be coming in on a regular basis, however often they typically come in. And it's just a good alternative for them.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Especially needed. So you've been in the home care industry for quite a while now, as we've established, 10 years?
10 and a half, yep.
10 and a half. What do you see the future for home care looking like, especially with these
Okay.
baby boomers?
Yeah. So, in our industry as a whole, staffing is difficult. It's difficult to find staffing. COVID changed a lot of things. And one of the things that changed was the number of people who wanted to get into providing care in home. And well, as you know, in hospitals and in retirement communities and nursing homes, it's a struggle everywhere. So we have to all be aware that staffing could become difficult. It frankly isn't for us now. We do very well in getting staff and training them up and taking care of our clients. But staffing will be a problem in the industry. You look at baby boomers, next 25 years, it's going to be a huge problem.
Yeah.
Frankly, because there will be the money to buy services, but will there be the services to acquire?
Right.
And so we're trying to position ourselves that way. I do think technology will come into play, where if you can't have a person there, can't afford a 24/7 person, we can at least put in the stack care where we monitor movement overnight, and so minimum cost to that, that's going to save some money.
Yeah.
And we just have to, everyone has to be open to all the possibilities that are coming down the pike. And I know just from what I'm hearing from my franchise, there are a lot of exciting things coming our way in the near future. And but right now, you look at it, and it's going to be difficult to take care of all the people that need to be cared for.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that's frankly why you see such a boom in retirement communities going up.
Right.
Because they see the same wave that we see, but there's talk, and serious talk, about Medicare starting to pay for home care, as a way to save money from having to pay for them to be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's proven that people who have medical conditions, who get additional care as opposed to don't get additional care, they're going to stay safer longer. And
Well,
it's a good
isolation is a
alternative.
huge thing. I don't think people put the weight into isolation and loneliness as much as they should.
Right.
That they need to consider that much more than they do, because mental
Mental
illness
health
is going to kill us faster than
Yep.
physical.
Mental health is a huge issue.
Yeah.
It's a huge issue.
Yes. Across the board, not
because
just
we
geriatrics.
have tons of clients. We are the only people they see all day long.
Yeah.
And so if they didn't have that, then where would they be? It would just be bad.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
This has been fun.
It is. And I
Right.
hope that you feel like you got out what you want the public to know about your business, the direction that you're going, the services that you cover.
I feel like I did, but we can always share more. All they have to
Yes.
do is call,
Yes.
email,
If someone wants to get a hold of you, what is your number?
number 515-251-7444.
Perfect. Ask for Jeff.
There you go.